My name is Amber Chiang. Here we go. Reading piano music for beginners. Today we're going to cover the musical alphabet and how it relates to the keyboard, learning intervals, which is really important when reading music. It really helps to find out what the notes are. Then we're going to learn note values, the notes and their values. And then we're going to take a look at the grand staff and discuss that and also try playing a piece. The first thing is the musical alphabet. There are 7 letters in the musical alphabet, which is great. That's all you have to know is 7 letters. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And what do you think comes after G? A. We start all over again. The piano keyboard are grouped in sets of 2 black keys and 3 black keys. Here we are looking at the musical alphabet that repeats forwards and backwards on the keyboard. So our most famous note is C. C is located to the left of the 2 black keys on the white key, right here. So we have C, D, E, F, G. Now we're going to go to A, B, C. So you can see here the 2 black keys and the white key C to the left. The other note might be important, which might be important, is the F, which is the white key to the left of the 3 black keys. As we go up to the right and down to the left, we're going to talk about the intervals now. We have from C to D is we count 1, 2, and that's called a second. And then if we go C to E, we count 1, 2, 3, and that's a third. From C to E is a third. And then if we go from C to F, we count 1, 2, 3, 4. So from C to F is a fourth. And so on and so forth. So C to G is a fifth. C to A is a sixth. And C to B is a seventh. And then we get back to C. From C to C, we call that an octave or an eighth. Okay, so now we're going to play a little game and see how many people can get this, all right? I'll demonstrate first. So I hope everybody has a pencil and paper. And if you don't, I hope you have a good memory. Hopefully you do, or you can go grab one. We're going to start with the letter B, okay? So I want you to write down B on your paper, or just remember it. Then I'm going to ask you to go up a fourth. 1, 2, 3, 4 is E. You got that? So now write that down. So far we have B, E. I'm going to have you go down a second. 1, 2. And here's D. What's the word that we spelled? B, E, D. Bed. Now you're going to have to figure this out for yourself. We're going to start on D. Okay, everybody? We're going to start on D. Now I want you to go up a second. Okay, find that and write that letter down. Then go up a fourth and find that one. And then go up another fourth. Okay, what word do we have? Dead. That's it. So, okay, let's try another one. We're going to start on C. So write down C. And then we're going to go up a sixth. So write that letter down, up a sixth. Then we're going to go down a second. Down a second. What letter is that? And then we're going to go down a third. Okay, what word did we spell? Let's do one more. So we're going to start on E. We're going to go down a second, then we're going to go up a fourth, and then we're going to go down a third. So the next thing we're going to talk about is learning the notes. Let me ask you first, what is your favorite pie? Cherry, blueberry, pumpkin? So what I have here is a pizza pie. Here we are. Here is our whole pie. And in music, we have a note that's called a whole note. It's just a round note. It's called a whole note. So we have a whole pie and a whole note. So you can write this down if you want, so you can remember these notes. Next slide, we're going to cut the pie in half, and we have two halves. So how many people can eat a half a pizza or a half a pie? So in music, we have a note called the half note. It's the round note with a stem, a circle with a stem. So that's a half note. So how many halves in a whole? We have two halves in a whole pie. Okay, next slide. Now we're going to cut the pie again. So now we have how many pieces? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is a quarter of a pie. So I bet you can eat a quarter of a pie, huh? So in music, we have a note called the quarter note. Okay, it's a black note with a stem. If we assign the quarter note to one beat in a whole pie, in the whole note, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 beats. We count 4. In a half a pie, we have 2 beats. 1, 2. One more slide. We're going to cut the pizza again. Oh my, it's going to get smaller and smaller pieces. So now how many pieces do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 pieces. So this note is called the eighth note. It's a black note with a stem and a flag. If a quarter of the pie, the quarter note, gets one beat, then the eighth note is going to get what? A half a beat. Half, two halves make one beat. These notes are very important when you're reading music, because music is very important for rhythm. Can you play what a half beat sounds like? Sure. So it depends on your tempo. Okay. So tempo means the rate of speed that you're playing. If we have the quarter note beat as our one beat, so we're going 1, 1, 1, 1, then the eighth note is going to go twice as fast, because you have to put 2 eighth notes in 1 quarter. So it'd be ba, da, 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 da. If I were to play on the piano, the quarter note here and the eighth note here, we'd be going 1, 2. The next slide, which is the basics, quarter note, and we have a quarter rest. So the quarter note gets 1 count and the quarter rest gets 1 count, but the rest means to be quiet. This you play and this you be quiet. Then the half note has the 2 counts, and a half rest looks like a hat, and that has 2 counts of rest. Then we have the dotted half note is 3 beats, and the whole note is 4 beats. Okay, and here's the whole rest. So it's underneath because it's too heavy. And then over here we have a treble clef and a bass clef. So now we're going to look at this music here. The staff consists of 5 lines and 4 spaces, as you can see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. This is called a staff. Now we have these bar lines, which separate to make it easier to read the music. Otherwise, it'd be a bunch of notes and it'd be really confusing. So we put these bar lines in to create measures. So the measure is the space between the bar line. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 measures. So this is the space between the bar lines. Here is our treble clef, is the high side of the piano, the high notes. Right after the treble clef, here we have these two numbers, 4, 4. This is called a time signature. So this is very important because the top number tells you how many beats in a measure. So there would be 4 beats in each of these measures. Bottom number tells you which note gets 1 beat. And I ask my students this all the time. Nobody ever remembers. So when it's a 4, it's telling you that the quarter note gets 1 beat. We could put in 4 quarter notes in this measure because it has to add up to 4. We could put in 2 half notes because that adds up to 4. We could put in 2 quarters and a half note because that adds up to 4. And then here we could put in a whole note, 1 whole note, because that adds up to 4. Rhythm is super, super important, probably more important than the melody. Now we're going to look at the grand staff. So remember I told you that middle C is our most famous note. So here we have the grand staff. So the grand staff connects the treble clef, which is the high notes, with the bass clef, which is the lower notes. And it connects them with this bar that goes all the way down through both of the staffs. Remember, this is called a staff. Okay, so here's the bar line. So we have the treble clef and the bass clef. Here we have our most famous middle C, which corresponds to this note on the keyboard. Remember we said the C was the white note to the left of the 2 black notes. This middle C is not on the staff. You can see it's underneath. In the treble clef, it's written here on a little line of its own called a ledger line. In the bass clef, it's written here on a little line called a ledger line. Okay, so it depends on if you're playing with the treble clef or the bass clef. We're going to go up step by step. So a step would be a line to a space to a line to a space, and so on. So we're just going to go up the alphabet, C, D, E, F, G. And they're going to correspond to the notes on the piano, C, D, E, F, G. If you know the musical alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, it's also really good to learn the alphabet backwards. G, F, E, D, C, B, A. It helps when you're reading music to know the alphabet forwards and backwards. Okay, I'll help you figure out the notes on the staff. I'm going to show you the slide that might help you learn the notes better. These are called landmark notes, or I like to call them anchor notes. If you can just remember these notes, then it'll help you figure out the rest of the notes on the staff. So here we have our famous middle C. The second line in the treble clef, that's called G. Okay, and so you can sort of remember that because this circle circles the line, this line. This used to be called the G clef because it sort of looks like a G. You remember that this circle circles around the G line. So if you know this is G and this is C, it'd be pretty easy to figure out what is E. You could go C, D, E or G, F, E. Now in the bass clef, the line between the 2 dots is F. And this actually used to be called the F clef. It sort of looks like an F. So if you can just remember these 3 notes on the staff, that'll help you with reading music. Okay, the second one box is adding the C. So now we have three C's. We have the bass C, middle C, and the treble C. So you can see in the bass clef, it's the second space from the bottom. And in the treble clef, it's the second space from the top. So if you remember these C's and the F and the G, that's going to help a lot. Try to remember those. And even if you don't know the rest of the staff notes, these will help you figure them out. Then this slide shows the high Cs, but we won't be playing anything with the high Cs, so let's move on. All right, so this is a test. We're going to play a game. Here we go. We're going to figure out what this song is. Here we're going to use our pencil and paper, and we're going to write down these notes. Tell me, what is this first note? We're in the treble clef. We have 4/4 time. So as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 quarter notes, 4 beats in this measure, 4 beats in this measure. So every measure has 4 beats. Good. Okay, so we have our first note is E. Good. Okay, so what's our second note? D. And then our third note is what? It's our middle C, our famous C. Good. Then we go back to D, and then we have E's. Good. E, E, E. Good. And then in the third measure, we have D, D, D. And the last measure is E, G, G. Egg. Right. Let's first clap this out. I want to make sure you know the rhythm. I'll clap it, and you can clap along. We're going to count. Set our tempo. 1, 2, 3, go. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2. Everybody at the piano, if you have a keyboard, try to play this now. Okay, you can use finger 3 on E. Okay, we didn't talk about finger numbers. So finger numbers, the thumbs are 1. Thumbs are 1. Then we have 2, 3, 4, 5. Pinkies are 5. So middle finger is 3. Put finger 3 on the E. So everybody try playing it that has a keyboard and tell me what song, what's the name of this song? So I'll play it for you people that don't have a keyboard. E, D, C, D, E, 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 D, 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 G, G. Hold. Yay! So now let's figure out the next song. What's the first note? These are going to be easy for you guys. Good. E, E, E. And then the next measure. We're on the same note. E, E, E. All right, how about the third measure? What notes are these? E, and our last note is E. People at the keyboard, can you tell me what the song is? You can keep the same fingering, finger 3 on E. So I'll play this one for you. E, 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 2, E, G, C, D, E, 2, 3, 4. All right, so now we're going to go to the next line. Who can tell me what note this one is? It's the first time we've seen this note, huh? What note is this one? Very good, F. Good, so we have F, F, F. Then our famous note, C. And then what's this note? Do you remember? D. And then back to our famous note. All right, here's a new note. Oh boy, what note is this? Figure it out from your landmark, your anchor note. A. So we have A, then what? Good, G, G. And then the last note. All right. So how many people can tell me what this song is? Okay, I'm going to play this one for you. For those of you who don't have a keyboard, I'm just going to say the note names as I play it. F, 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 C, D, D, C, A, G, G, F, 2, 3, 4. Our last line, name that tune song. Here we have our famous C. And what note is this? Who remembers? One thing you can think about here are the intervals. Remember, we did that whole interval spelling. So on the staff, we would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So from C to G is a fifth. If you could see that, then it makes it easier to figure out what note to play. So from G, we're going up a second, 1, 2. So what comes after G? Remember? A, that's right. So right after G comes A. So here we have A, back to G. Okay, now we're going down a second. 1, 2, stepping down. So what note is this? So here's where the musical alphabet going backwards will help. What comes before G? What note is this? If you remember F, 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 and then we step down again. 1, 2, second. And what note is this? E, good, E, E. We step down again. So here we have the musical alphabet going backwards. G, F, E, D, and our famous note C. Try playing this. See if you can guess what this song is. All right, so I'm going to play this for you. It goes C, C, G, G, A, G, 2, F, F, E, E, D, D, C, 2. Yay, that's great. Another challenge we're going to do is we're going to do name that note, but now, oh, it's going to be the bass clef. A lot of people have more trouble with the bass clef for some reason. Here we have our bass clef. We have our 4/4 time, 4 beats in each measure. The quarter note gets 1 beat. If we remember our anchor notes, the line between the 2 dots is, anybody remember? F. So you got to remember that's your anchor note. So if you know this one's F and we go down a step, what comes before F? E, that's right. So we have E, then we step down. So what comes before E? D. And then we have the other anchor note. If you can remember the second space from the bottom, C, very good. So we have E, D, C. Then we go back up a second, D, go up another second, E, E, E. So now we go down a second, back to D, and then we go up a second. So that's easier because we're going the alphabet forwards, D, E. Now, this is a new note. If we know this is E, or this line here is F, then we just go E, F, G. Now we got all the notes, so play this and let me know what's the tune. You can use your left hand finger 3 on E, and that way you have all the notes under your fingers. So I'll play it for you. E, D, C, D, E, 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 2, D, 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 2, E, G, G, 2. That's it. Mary had a little lamb. Very good. If you want to continue, you can sign up for lessons. My name is Amber Chiang, and I will hopefully see you in a private lesson online. Thank you. Bye.